Hey guys, welcome to Big Laws Official, and today we're going to look at 5 things you're probably doing wrong in the gym. So, first thing we're going to start with is training. Everyone thinks about training as their first main kind of focus when you're looking at getting stronger or improving at powerlifting, strongman, etc. And I wanted to break it down a little bit. So the first biggest mistake I see time and time again with people is people just trying to lift too heavy too often. You see people week on week coming in the gym trying to max out, failing the same weight week on week, and you see it in every gym in the country. You know, my gym, no exception. There's guys in there, they'll come in, they'll chuck as much weight on the bar as they can, they'll lift an ugly heavy weight, they'll put more weight on and they'll fail it. If you do that, you're going to go backwards. You know, your body will, your central nervous system first is just going to take a beating. You're not teaching yourself how to lift correctly, your form breaks down, and you end up essentially going backwards and leaving your best lifts in the gym, not in competition. And if you're a competitive athlete that wants to be competing at a high level, or even like, you know, novice comps or whatever it is you've got kind of as a goal, you want your best lifts to be done at a certain time. So having some kind of structure to your training is going to help you massively, rather than just coming into the gym and lifting, you know, as much weight as you can. I know from you know, I think all of us have had that little stage where we start off training and we just want to get stronger each week and put as much weight on the bar. And you can get away with it to a certain degree for a little while as a newbie. But once you're kind of into that intermediate stage, you need a plan and you need a structure. And that leads me on to not having a plan. I have to have a plan. I have to have goals, and I have to have a plan to get me to those goals. And I break it down into, I've got big, ultimate, long-term goals, and they can be whatever you want. You know, be ambitious, set your goals high, but you have to be realistic when breaking down those goals. So having a plan to get you to them is vital. You know, I've had people come to me, they've been training 20 years, and they want to deadlift 300 kilos by the end of the year. And I'll say, okay, what can you deadlift now? And, you know, the guy might say, oh, this is a true story. A guy kind of came to me, he wanted a 300 kilo deadlift by the end of the year. He'd been lifting for 20 years, and he was a 220 kilo deadlifter. So in my kind of head, I'm thinking, this guy's not being very realistic. When you've been training that long, your progress is going to slow down. I mean, there's lots of factors that could have held him back, you know, poor technique, a lot of the things we're going to go through in the rest of this video, but his goal was unrealistic. And my kind of response to him was, why don't we focus on getting you to 230 first? And I don't think there's anything wrong with that ultimate goal of 300, but you've got to break it down. And, you know, I did a program for him. We did a 12-week program. We got him up to 230 actually, which was brilliant progress for someone that's been training that long. But his training structure was wrong. His technique needed a bit of tweaking, so we could get a little bit out of him quite quickly. But there's going to be a point where it slows down, and 5 to 10 kilos in a year sometimes is good progress. The newer you are to lifting, the quicker you can make progress. And there's other factors like whether you're willing to put on more body weight, that'll make a difference as how quickly you can progress. But there's going to be a point where it feels like you run into a brick wall and progress becomes very, very slow. So for me, I'm a 435 kilo deadlifter. For me to say I want to be deadlifting 500 kilos by the end of the year is ridiculous. I've got to focus on, you know, 440, smaller jumps, more realistic jumps, and then having a plan to get there. So we break those ultimate goals down. You know, my ultimate goal is to deadlift 1,000 pounds, 455 kilos. 20 kilos off that right now, but I've still got to get back up to my best. So it's all about kind of where you're at that point in time and then building. And having a good structure to your training will make that happen. I do training programs for people, and something I've seen recently with a lot of people doing the programs is they're not sticking to them. They'll do the program that I've written for them, so they'll do the main compound lifts, the numbers that I've written out, but then at the end of the session they're trying to do a PB weight. The idea of these programs is to build week on week towards your PB week, where you're going to go for that PB. And the detrimental thing to lifting too heavy too soon is that you're going to peak too early. So if you're kind of doing a structured program, you're working hard, getting everything done, and then you're thinking, oh, I feel good today, I'm going to try, 300, and then in 3-4 weeks down the line, your central nervous system's shot, and you're tired, and you're kind of struggling with the workouts. It's because you've done too much that week. It's not just my programs, whoever's program you're following, make sure you stick to it. You can have a small varying degree of, like a 10 kilo window that you can play with if you're feeling really good. If you're feeling tired, you might want to hold back a little bit, but don't deviate too much from the program. It's designed to peak at a certain time. So if anyone's out there that's bought some of my programs or anyone else's programs, you're focusing on them, focus on doing them. Give them the chance to help you progress. Don't suddenly think 3 weeks in it's time to go for a PB. The idea is in the 12th week, that's when you're going for the PB, and everything else is building up your confidence, building up your technique, building up your strength towards that. So there's a few pointers just focusing on training. The next thing you're probably doing wrong is nutrition. And I meet so many people that tell me, I can't put on weight, I can't get bigger, I can't get stronger. And I say, what's your nutrition like? And they go, oh yeah, I eat loads. And then you dig deeper and you find out maybe they have one big meal a day and that's it. They'll stuff 1,000 calories into them in one sitting, and then a couple of little snacks, and you add it all up and they're having 1,500 calories. If you're looking to be a strength athlete, you're not going to get big and strong on 1,500 calories a day. You need to break your meals down. You need to eat regularly and consistently. You can eat once a day, but you need to eat a lot. And I eat 6,000 calories a day. There's no way in hell I could eat 6,000 calories in one sitting. I have to break them down into 6 or 7 meals throughout the day, keep fueling my body, and that's how I can maintain a 160 kilo body weight and keep progressing, keep adding muscle, keep getting stronger. If you're focusing on getting bigger, on getting stronger, you need to fuel those workouts. And if you're not putting the food in, then you're not going to get stronger. One of my best friends always says, oh yeah, I'm eating loads, and he doesn't get any bigger and stronger. And I know exactly what he does because I've been there with him. He will eat a load of food in one sitting and then go 16 hours without eating because he's got a stressful job and he's focused on that. He's high intensity kind of job. He's kind of thinking all the time, working all the time, and he just forgets about eating. And he does come and eat a huge meal, but that one huge meal isn't enough to fuel his workouts and to help him add muscle. So you could be in that situation. You could be one of the guys that you kind of skip breakfast, you skip lunch, and then you have a huge dinner, and then you just snack on kind of crisps and chocolate for the rest of the day. That's not going to help either. You need to make sure you're getting quality food into you. So good quality proteins, good quality carbohydrates, lots of fruit and veg, foods that are going to help fuel your workouts and help you build and recover afterwards. What have we got next? Next, we're going to look at recovery from training. Things like sleep, massively important. Some people don't get anywhere near enough sleep. I would say somewhere between 6 and 8 hours is ideal. And you don't need more than that. Some people kind of sleep too much, but 6 to 8 hours is perfect. Good quality sleep as well. And that's something that I've worked at. I used to think I was getting a good amount of sleep. I used to go to bed at a good time, but I wasn't getting quality sleep. So I had some tests done to see how my body was kind of sleeping, and it came back that I wasn't getting any good quality sleep at all. So I now have a CPAP machine which helps me sleep, which has made a big difference. My recovery is so much better at night. I've kind of used it. At first I was like a bit reluctant. I was like, I don't want to kind of admit I've got sleep apnea or something like that. But I started off at about 19 stone when I started Strongman. I was always a big lad, played rugby, was a big strong kid, but I'm 26 stone now. That's a lot of weight to put on. And lying back on a bed, you kind of close up the kind of airways, and the CPAP machine helps open them up and get air into you. My sleep is so much better because of that. I take CBD oil before bed and in the morning. That's helping my sleep. A few other supplements that help with sleep. And that, having that recovery from training, that's when it all happens, is when you're in bed. So if you're not getting good quality sleep, try and get to bed at the same time every night if you can. Obviously, sometimes on the weekends that's not always possible. Monday to Friday, be quite strict with your regime. Make sure you're going to bed at 10 o'clock at night. You get up at the same time, and you get that good quality kind of sleep, and you get into a good rhythm and routine. That's going to help massively. As well as sleep, I focus on things like my mobility. So that's something that I neglected when I was younger. Just thought I was young and invincible, could go into the gym and do whatever, whereas now I'm a good 40 minutes on a training day focusing on mobility, and even longer than that on non-training days. I'm not saying you have to do for as long as I did, because of the neglect that I put in. I'm kind of playing catch up at the moment, but it's definitely helping, and my muscles feel better for it, my technique is better on certain movements, and I just feel better in myself knowing that I haven't got these tight muscles, kind of like your delts are pulling you forward, or your pecs are tight, your quads get tight. If they're too tight, they're going to restrict your movement in the gym and potentially cause injury, and injury is the biggest setback from progress, so we want to avoid that as much as possible. The next thing I kind of look at to help my recovery is physical treatment. So I get massage, chiropractic treatment every single week, just to make sure the body is kind of recovering from the workouts and functionally working properly. Chiropractic treatment particularly is something that's in the last 2 years I've really added, that's made a huge difference to me. Beforehand, if your body's kind of out of line, I could go to the gym and really struggle on a 200 kilo squat. I'll go and get a treatment, make sure everything's firing again. I could come back and do 300 for 10. It makes that much of a difference. If you're kind of off-centered, and you end up kind of compensating, your body will start working harder on one side. That's when injuries occur and happen, and it's something that I'm trying to avoid as much as possible, and it's something that may help you with your training and your progress. But just so you've got an idea of some of the treatments I go through, I have like ice heat therapy, chiropractic treatment, physio. We've talked about the mobility stuff and foam rolling. Occasionally look at flotation tanks, so you're kind of just resting in a flotation device, hour in there in the dark, just nice, relaxing, mentally as well as physically. You kind of just feel chilled afterwards. That's probably it. Some guys focus on other things. Obviously, it can get more and more expensive. Eddie Hall had a hyperbaric chamber. There's other athletes that do cryotherapy and stuff like that. So there's loads and loads of things that will help with recovery. But I think if you get the basics right, you get your mobility, good physio, good chiropractor, you get those focused, you can't really go wrong. Next up, this is a really big important one that's probably overlooked sometimes, is hydration. Now often I get asked, what's the most important thing to do before a competition? What should I eat before a competition? And more important than what you eat is staying hydrated, making sure you're drinking plenty of fluid and replacing the lost salts that you're going to have from competing, from the exertion of competition, particularly if you're competing in hot climates. Hydration has been a big factor in me not getting so many injuries in the last couple of years. A few years ago I was getting injured all the time, and there's lots of the things that I've kind of spoken about today have all kind of helped. I've always trained hard, but focusing on the recovery side of things is something that I've got much better at, and hydration is a big factor. And all I do is have water with Himalayan rock salt in it. I put Himalayan rock salt onto my food, and then especially a few days leading up to a competition, particularly in the hot weather kind of shows where, the Philippines for World's Strongest Man this year, did a show in America that was really hot. Even Summer Mania in England this year, it was in blistering hot conditions. Going out to Dubai, really hot again, humid as well, so your body's sweating all the time. So I'm just drinking 500ml bottles of water with a cap full of Himalayan rock salt mixed into it. Sip on it during the day, and just replace it as soon as it's gone. I'll make up another one. Just keep sipping throughout the day rather than having a huge amount in one hit. It tends to find if you just have water and a huge amount in one hit, it'll just go through you and you're not replacing the salts. I found that's been the best thing for me to prevent cramping. I haven't cramped at all this year in a contest, and I'm notorious in the past for cramping, and that dehydration is probably one of the main factors for muscle tears, and as most of you know, I've had a number of those. So hydration has just been a massive key for my progress this year in getting better and making sure I'm making progress again, because like I said earlier, if you get injured, it's the biggest setback. And now I've had a good year of training, I've really started to make some progress again and feel a lot more confident going into next year. The last thing, and this is something that's hard for a lot of us is to listen to your body. And that doesn't mean be a pussy and just kind of chicken out, but I've had to learn to listen to my body. I've made the mistake in the past of ignoring niggles, ignoring feeling ill, and just going to the gym and pushing on and just having that mental kind of, I've got to drive forward no matter what approach. And that's a sure way to end up hurt. Now, it's finding the balance. With a newbie, I can tell when someone's just being lazy or they genuinely, shouldn't be going to the gym, shouldn't be pushing. I've just come back from the Fairwinders and I feel like crap. I've had kind of a bit of a chest infection, feel like rubbish. Should have trained the last 2 days and I've decided not to. I know if I went to the gym, I'd probably have a bad workout. Mentally, that would affect me. My confidence would drop. I wouldn't give myself the time to recover. You get sweaty in the gym, you get even colder. You're not going to recover. So I've had a few days off the gym. I'm going to have today off and hopefully I'll be all right tomorrow to get back in. And just missing a workout or two is not the end of the world, particularly if you've kind of been training a long time. It comes back down to, if I go in and push and injure myself or make myself worse, then my progress is going to be even slower. So I've learned to sometimes think, right, I'm not feeling it today, I'm going to back off. Or I've had days where I'm really working hard on my squats and deadlifts or my compound movements, and I'm going to back off a little bit off the assistance work because I've just put so much into that. I'm drained and tired, I've had a busy day doing other things, you've got other commitments. Sometimes it's okay to back off a little bit. That doesn't mean be lazy and back off all the time. If you feel good, definitely push on through your workouts, make sure you finish them, but listen to your body. A few of my clients, especially older clients, it's important to kind of understand that your body doesn't recover as quick as, say, a 20-year-old. So we've got to bear that in mind. You sometimes have to make workouts shorter for the older clients. You've got to make sure they're still getting the work in, but they're not killing themselves and destroying themselves because their body just won't recover as quick. So little things like that make a big difference to your training. And think about your lifestyle. If you've got a real busy, hectic lifestyle and you haven't got time to be in the gym for 2 hours, just get in there, get the most important exercises done, and then get out. If you have time for a bit more, then you can add the assistance work after. But I know some tremendously strong people that got really strong just on basic movements, squats, bench press, deadlift, overhead press. Those movements are going to get you strong. Try not to neglect them. Obviously, if you feel ill, have a day off. It's not the end of the world. You're better off getting to that contest feeling fresh and recovered than beat up and ill. Because if you go to a show like that, and that's happened before, I'm giving you this advice because I've learned from it in the past. How many times do you see people, and how many times are any of you guys watching, you push really, really hard and you get really close to a comp and suddenly you feel really ill and crap because you've destroyed your immune system, you've not given yourself that break, and you get to a show feeling like shit. I see it all the time, I see friends posting up things, typical 1 week before a show. It's not typical. It's done because you haven't given yourself that kind of recovery, and it's a mistake that we all make. But you need to understand your body, you need to listen to it. And if you are feeling like crap, don't be afraid to have a session off. One session off the gym is not going to hold back your progress. Backing off an exercise is not going to hold back your progress. You need to work hard, that's a given. But listen to your body, get into the gym, work hard when you can. If it's time to back off, and listen to your body. I hope you find that quite useful. It's just, like I said, it's all kind of information that I've picked up over the years, trial and error. One of the things that helps me is that I genuinely love what I do. I keep coming back because I love it. And if you guys, enjoy it, if you get an injury, it's not the end of the world. I was injured this time last year. I slipped a disc. I had to miss Britain's Strongest Man. I had to miss Europe's Strongest Man. So I missed some big competitions, but there's always another show. And I kind of built on that, I got stronger and stronger. My confidence has grown throughout the year. I've got better and better as it's gone on. I've been smart with my training. I've been smart with my nutrition and my recovery. And I'm enjoying it and feeling good. So don't be afraid of kind of, it sucks getting injured. I've said that many times, but it's not the end, okay? You can come back from it. You can get stronger. And if you listen to these points I've given you, there's a good chance you'll avoid those injuries. So enjoy it. Let me know what you think of the video, guys. Let me know if you think it's useful. Please like, share and subscribe. And I'll catch you guys soon.